Live. This is Donette. Welcome. So tonight I'm actually having a Long Island iced tea made by me. Yep, I am definitely a good cocktail maker. So come on down, check out Kanji Bistro and Lounge. We are at the back of. Let me just turn my music down. So we are at the back of the. We're at the back road. No, I'm sorry, we're at the back road, and this is close to the infamous Bella Lumberyard, and also close to the old radio station. This is in Wismer, Linden, Guyana, South America. You can definitely check out Kanji Bistro and Bar or Lounge. Sorry, and we are a I think we kind of embrace that idea of being in Linden, Guyana, but definitely bringing in the Miami culture with us. So I like to repeat what my slogan is, which is a little piece of Miami on the hills, and this is Blueberry Hill, Wisma Linden, Blueberry Hill. So definitely check us out. We have lots of people coming from all over the place. Everyone wants to know. Well, okay, let me step back. So, you want to know why I'm here? If you're seeing me for the very first time, I am Donette. And this is my life, of course. And this is also where I vlog about returning back to your home country, if you so please, and how to make the best in terms of not only the repatriation process, encouraging you to not choose just because you live in the United States or you live in the United Kingdom or you live in Canada, but you can certainly choose to return to a less stressful, more cheaper lifestyle. And tonight we're going to be talking about gaslighting. Basically, people gaslighting you out of returning back to your home country, and the fact that there's so much negativity that is splurged out there about coming back home, whether it's Guyana, Trinidad, Jamaica, Grenada, St. Vincent, Panama, wherever you're from. People oftentimes have a lot of negative things to say about when you go back home. And meanwhile, though, when you take that plane, thank you. I'm drinking my Long Island iced tea. Some of it is left in here, so I'm enjoying it. Made by me. When you take that plane, you will see a bunch of non-black or Afro faces going to those same countries, and oftentimes they live in those countries, and they do business in those countries. So people are telling us not to return, or you're telling us not to return to our country. Meanwhile, the white folks are moving in, and lots of Black Americans are moving overseas as well. So for us Caribbean people, I say, why not take the leap of faith? As long as you've got a plan. So tonight we're here to talk about gaslighting and why people say to you, don't ever do that, or they would never do it, and they have a million and one reasons as to why they wouldn't do it. But I'm here to tell you that don't let other people's lives define what you make, your decisions that you make. That decision for them may be good. It doesn't mean it's good for you. Right? So one of the things that I've learned to live by is to not live by people's rules. I always defy the rules. This is the reason why I do the things that I do all the time. Like I just go, if I want to do something, I get it done. I don't care how big it is. I don't care what mountains I have to climb. I don't care what valleys I have to leap through. I am going in. And listen, I am not good at losing. So I'm going to win. Okay, this is just the way it is. So I am really, really not good. I'm good at taking advice from people who offer good advice. I'm very, very discerning in terms of the people who come along and try to, I guess, project their realities on you, try to make you think the way they think, do things the way they do things. And then when things go belly up, they leave you there saying, well, What are you going to do now? Or, as if they're at a loss too. Or, oh, you should have done better. Well, the reason why I didn't do better is because I followed your stupid advice, right? Because if I had listened to my own inner voice, I would have done exactly what I was supposed to do. So I have always been very defiant, even as a kid. I have to say that it wasn't in my favor because I got lots of spankings. But as a kid, I was a talker and I always defied the rules. But I think that at the end of it all, once my grandparents and my mom and those people saw what I was made of, that part of that resilience that they saw, or that part of that defiance that they saw, was the resilience that was built in me from even a young girl or a young black girl. So I was never good at going by other people's rules. Doesn't mean that I think I was kind of rude. I was kind of rude, but I don't think I was disrespectful or disrespectfully rude. I think I just wanted to talk back, or I just wanted to have the last say, and of course that didn't get me anything other than some good whoopings, right? But in the end of it all, those the very defiant spirit and personalities that I displayed, or personality that I displayed from a young girl, was what eventually would take me to where I am today. So let's talk about people gaslighting you and some of the things that they say. When I started building this project, this my bistro and lounge. So I'm gonna, for those of you who haven't been following me, I am here at my bistro. This is in Guyana, South America, and this is for those of us who don't know where Guyana is. In case you come in, it is close to Brazil, Venezuela, Suriname, and we are all neighbors. We are the only South American country that does not speak another language. We only speak English or broken English. It is the part of the South Americas that is really resembles the Caribbean, or the West Indies. Is again, we sound more like West Indian people. We have our culture, our food makeup is definitely more West Indian. Our you know, let me see, the music that we listen to would be reggae, calypso, soca. That's what Guyana is all about. So it is, made up of 6 different races. If you didn't know, now you do, all right? So the Indians and blacks are the dominant races in the country. They're also the two that fight against each other the most. Don't know what's wrong with us, but we're all dark people. So we need to come together and live as one, right? Unfortunately, that ain't going to happen. Politicians make sure that that's not going to happen. And the only way to win in politics is if you divide. And I think they've done an excellent job here in Guyana at dividing people and making sure that they stay voting for a particular party versus the other party or whatever. But anyway, it's politics. It gets nasty. I don't get into it. I do business and I'm here to repatriate without all the red flags going off and the issues that they have in terms of politics. I'm not about to get into it. I get into it in terms of Democrats and Republicans already, and because I've always lived a very American lifestyle. I've lived there for the past 35 years. So I am very, very voicey about the politics in America. I am not going to do that here in Guyana. That's not part of why I'm here. I think if whoever is in the current, or whoever is running the country, I pray that they will always do a good job at making sure that all Guyana citizens succeed. All of us, or all of them succeed, because it's that important, right? To make sure that you have a citizenry which is, benefiting from the decisions that government makes, which is uplifting a government that is uplifting the community, a government that sees no race, sees no color, sees no. But we're all brown people and black people, so I don't know what race there is, honestly. We say there are 6 races, but, the fact that, we have cultural identification, that's certainly true. and racial identification. I know that's true, but then when someone else looks at us, we're all black and brown people, and they're not in favor of us when we go across the seas or the water elsewhere. So, I say for, because we are so close in complexion, we need to stick together. But, that's my little, I guess, world that I live in that is peaceful and very, very, ideal or idealistic, but it's just not the way life is. It's just not the way the world we live in is. But anyway, I'm not going to ramble on about that anymore. Let's talk about gaslighting. Give me 1 second. Let me check my gate, make sure there's no one there. All right. Yeah, I thought I heard somebody call, so I'm sitting away from where the gate is. Again, this Long Island iced tea is way good. I just got my bottle of gin the other day because I couldn't find any in Linden, and I'm hoping that Massey store has it in Georgetown, so I'm gonna check them out. But my cousin, thank you so much. He's awesome. He got me a bottle of gin, and so I'm able to finally make my Long Island iced tea. But I know that's just gonna go, but so far, so I'm gonna have to find gin. So if you know where gin is in Guyana, hit up the comment section and let me know where I can find gin because I need GIN, right? I need it to make cocktails, especially my Long Island iced tea. All right, so gaslighting. So let me just say something. Initially, when I started this project in terms of coming overseas and doing doing this project, I didn't tell my husband. It's supposed to be a surprise for him, and it was a surprise to him. He didn't know. So even when I was talking to you guys, and I mentioned this before, more than once, more than likely, that even when I was telling you guys and telling the world about a project, at the time I didn't tell you guys that he didn't know. I kept saying us and we and our, because I knew that obviously it's my husband and whatever it is that I do belongs to him and whatever he does belongs to me. So we're one, right? So I use those pronouns as a way to say, it belongs to us. But in actuality, he didn't know about it, right? And he finally found out when it was time because I wanted to surprise him. And let me tell you why it is that I didn't tell him as well. Not only because it was a love project that came from my heart and that I wanted him to know about and surprise him with and say, let's do this. It's because of the fact people were gaslighting him. And I knew his negativity towards moving back home. And that didn't come from the fact that he felt like he didn't want to, because he's always talked about living a more relaxed lifestyle. It was more about what other people thought and, all the sad and very real experiences, of course, because I'm not denying anyone experience, but their experience, it doesn't mean that it has to impact you, right? But they were telling him about all the negative things that they could find, or they have experienced, or that someone else they knew experienced, or someone else that knew them, that knew someone else that knew someone else that experienced. So there's always this thing about what someone else experienced, and therefore I shouldn't do it either. And so he had a lot of people kind of like saying negative things to him, and he would talk to me about it. So I knew that he had this feeling about coming back home to Guyana, or his friends who were Jamaicans, they would talk bad about moving back home to Jamaica, that all sort of things that they can find to say about why they wouldn't move back. Again, gaslighting you, finding everything negative to project that they've experienced or someone else they knew have experienced or someone else they knew that knew somebody who experienced it. And again, it continued on for several years. He would tell me different things because I guess he kind of got that nudge that I eventually wanted to go home. But he was just telling me silently without telling me. It's like saying it without saying it as to why. And I've never had that view of my home country. I've never had that view of anyone moving back home. actually. And it was kind of, 1 second. All right, I have to check the gate every so often. So, excuse me. But it was kind of this thing where I just knew that if I told him right away, that he would discourage what it is that I was doing. And sometimes other people, I mean, it's my husband and all, and I love him to death, but sometimes people will kill your dreams. Because if I had even told him, he would have told me, no, don't do that. Remember what so and so said, blah, 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 blah. And so I intentionally not only wanted to work in this project to surprise him, but I intentionally kept it from him because I knew he was going to come against it. Again, people gaslighting him not to. Some of the things that they would say, to ensure that, to put that negativity in your head. People home, they are, the kind of people who will take whatever you have and they will not be helpful towards you, that they are very selfish, that they're selfish or greedy, that they're the type of people that will, steal from you and all that stuff. And I'm not saying none of this stuff is real because I do believe it's real and I do believe that it happens all the time. It does. And I tell you all the time, don't leave yourself open and send your money here to, to any country because they will take it. But those are things that were said to him, things that, you come to, you go back home, it will not be the same type of lifestyle, like you're accustomed to in the United States. You've worked hard. Why would you just leave the place that you knew from the time you were young to come to a place that you don't know, anymore? Those are things again that are said. Things that, what do you call it? You have a nice home, you have, you have your children there, as if, you wouldn't be in contact with your kids anymore if you decide to move abroad or if you decide to move any place. As if, when you come to your home country or to Guyana in my case, that it would no longer be, that you would no longer have that access, to the lifestyle that you once lived. I don't know, I can't even fathom as to why people would listen to these generalities. I see online as well where people will say they'll never return back home. The country is so poor. The country is, it needs to be fixed. The roads need to be fixed. Infrastructure needs to be done, in many ways, whether it's roadways or, or the highways or or the street lights or, technology, better government and better this and better that. Like, yeah, all these things are, I'm not telling you that they're not true. However, you have to know what you can live with versus what you can't. Because I think that, as much as we have such a great constitutional system in the United States, as much as we have such laws that protect us in the United States, as much as we have such an advanced country that we live in, that, when we look at, the amount of years that we spend putting into this country, and what we get back is beneficial, yes. But can we continue to live off that? I mean, can we continue to live stressed out? Can we continue to live paycheck to paycheck? Can we continue to live, taking medication for this ache and that ache and all sort of aches? Can we continue to live and just be pissed off most of the times because, I'm one of those people that laugh a lot and just to have a good time no matter where I am because I happen to have that kind of personality. But people are way stressed out, way depressed, way overburdened. America is one of the most creative nations in the world, or perhaps the most creative nation in the world. But It is also the most stressed out nation in the world, the most over medicated nation in the world, right? And so don't come at me when, if you see me living and wanting to live free. I want to live where I am not stressed. I want to live where I don't have to worry from paycheck to paycheck. I want to live where I am, where I can spend money, use the same amount of monies that I have, that I've been making over the years, and where I can live cheaper, right? And I want to create a business where I pay corporate prices, hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. And I have told you guys that the amount of money that I spend on this property in terms of what it is that I spend monthly to maintain it. And there's no way that you will be able to do a business like this. This is, for those of us who don't know and who are just coming in, it's my bistro and lounge, like I said. And with the bistro and lounge, and here in South America, Guyana, South America, I mean, like I said, my bills are literally under $200 a month, 200 US dollars a month. Okay, yeah, the other things that I have to purchase, that's on me. That's what I invest my money to buy those things, so that I can have the materials that I need, so that when my customers come, they literally can have whatever cocktails they want, whatever beers they want, and so on. But of course, I'm making a profit on that too, right? And that profit, of course, I can use to continue to build out my facility the way I want it, or the way I envision it. So my thing is that you have to know, what it is that you want. Don't let people gaslight you on the negativity of returning home. You have to know that you're comfortable with the culture. The culture is what it is. We understand that no place on this face of the earth is perfect, right? So we understand that politics plays into it. We know that we're not going to make as much money if we come here, but you're not coming here without a game plan. That's not what I'm promoting. You're coming here with a game plan, using your own monies to create a game plan, so that when you get to wherever it is that you're going, back to the country, and in my case, you can succeed at a business that that you see that is worthy of you getting involved with. For me, going in terms of a venue where I can do weddings, where I can do birthdays, where I can do events, is what I wanted. So when you look at my venue inside, well, let me. So when you look at the venue inside, you see that it's a small spot, right? And I told you before that I intentionally did it this way because I wanted to have the outdoors big and broad, right? And I wanted it to be a place where people can come and be comfortable. I am turning this section into a VIP section, right? And once I'm done turning this into a VIP section, outdoors will be completely different. This is where most of whatever is going to be happening. And here I have a plan to, over here, actually, this veranda. Well, let me go back a little. So this is my veranda. So this veranda is going to be lifted. So it's going to be here. It's going to stay the same way. I'm sorry. But I'm going to extend it to the wall. So this is my wall. It goes all the way back there, right? So what I'm doing is I'm lifting this wall up. Well, I'm sorry, extending this veranda out. Is going to go straight out to the wall. I'm going to be lifting the veranda once it leaves the level that I'm at right now. You're going to have maybe 3 or 4 stairs, and it's going to go up to about 7 feet up this way, right? So this is where the veranda is going to start. So you're going to have like a nice, overarching experience. And you're going to have tables and chairs right there. So it's going to be really cool. Over here, if you look in the back, is where I have my bathroom, outdoors bathroom that is being, all I have to do now is put the doors on, of course, and I have to plaster it, but it's completely done, right? So that's where that's going to happen. I'm moving these, so I'm walking you through my creative process, which is, I hope that you will learn from as well. Because here I wasn't going to do this overarching thing before. So I had placed the lamps out right here with the plants. So I'm going to relocate the plants. I'm going to break the concrete over here. I'm going to relocate the plants over here along with the lights or the lamps, so that way I can I can still have those things, but I will move them over. And so that way, of course, you can't have, gas or kerosene close to the building, so or to any structure. So I'm going to move it over. I am over or recapping this entire platform here or courtyard, as I would like to it to be known. I'm recapping it so that way it comes out nice and smooth. At least now, as I said before, I don't have to deal with the sand because before it was all sand. Now, the other thing that I'm doing is that if you look here, you're gonna see that I have my kitchen. So this is my kitchen. So I'm not going down the route of food for in terms of Guyanese food. I don't think it's a good choice for me. I have been promoting most things American here in terms of my music that I do, in terms of the kind of look that I have. Again, a very Miamian culture, a very American culture. So my kitchen is going to be looking at stuff such as seafood and Italian food and so on. So for me, I decided not to compete with the local market because once again, you cannot outbeat the local food. The local food is always gonna it's always gonna top. So for me, I decided not to go that route. So don't try to compete with the local people food because you're probably gonna end up losing. So I decided that I don't want to do that. So I have gone totally Italian with my food, right? Um, Bring it back to me. So I've gone totally Italian with my food, and I also am going to go totally. Well, when I start cooking in my kitchen and I have a chef, I'm going to go total Italian along with wild meats, along with seafood. So I am not going down the route of fried fish and chips or anything like that. Doesn't make sense because again, every single corner you turn around, you can find a tent with people selling food, a little store, mom and pop store with people selling fried fish and chips or fried fish and cook up rice or fried fish and peas and rice or fried fish and you know like today I got just randomly was driving with my taxi and just asked him to stop. They could reverse back. I can pick up some food from a lady that was selling at a tent, and she had some really good uh, red peas cook up rice, I believe that is, and fried fish. So I got some of that. I just ate it right before I got online with you guys, right? So my thing is that you have to go wherever others haven't gone and pave that way. So I know seafood isn't a big thing in Guyana. I have been trying to find seafood, and I heard there's one place that provides it, and he does it like once a week. And I don't even know where the place is. I haven't found it because I'm dying to eat some. Because not only because I want to know what my competitor has in store, but I definitely want to just eat it. Period, because I love seafood so much. But that's one person in the entire place that does seafood up here in Linden. So I think I'm going in the right direction with that, and also with it being Italian cooking that I want to embrace. I think no one really does that unless it's probably in Georgetown somewhere where they have the big restaurants like Hard Rock and those places. They'll definitely serve more pasta and different kind of things, or linguine, chicken linguine, or whatever it is. So I want to go down the route of Italian cooking, primarily Italian cooking with wild meat, a wild meat day, as well as and wild meat is anything. I think they call it laba, or any crazy kind of meat. But I had some laba last week, man. Listen, I think my brother, I think that's what he did. He barbecued it. My goodness, that thing was good. My brother's a great cook, so. I am looking now for an extra chef because my chef, original chef, he's still here, but he can only do occasional stuff because he's a cattler and he is very, very busy with his animals, right? So I can't expect him to be here all the time. So I'm looking for a chef, and he will be the main person, but my chef, then the other chef that I have now will be a backup person, when time comes and I have big events and so on. So I am really, really in this place where I am confident this is going to work. Now, people gaslighting me, I wouldn't fall for it. I know people have a lot of negative things to say about returning back home, but you have to make that decision that suits you. You have a decision that tells you, that I am comfortable doing what I do. Don't allow people's experiences to impact how you do your life. Your life is yours, and it's to be, and the decisions that you make are supposed to be about what you think will benefit you. Don't go after what you see people do, because you don't even know what they've got done to get where they are, right? And that could be in a good way or a bad way, because they could have made stupid decisions, and that's why they're in a place where they're probably not as successful, and then they want to influence you. And notice something also: people are really good, with you when you are listening to them and when you are at their level. And as soon as you make that next step up, that's when you start getting all the hate. I saw this video the other day online, and it was talking about, I think, 6 things to never do. Never tell people your salary, never tell people plans, never tell people what your dreams are, never tell people what your weaknesses are, and never tell people, what your, I guess your salary. I may have said that before, but either way, this is like 6 things that you shouldn't ever tell people, because they will use it against you, and they will come fight you silently with those, realities. And a lot of people say, well, that's like not having any friends, and that's like, just, the dumbest things to do, and I don't really feel so. I think that the guy is absolutely right. I think people will definitely use the things that you tell them to fight you. If they know what your plans are, that's their best way to pull you down. If they know that you're about to do something, big next week, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be sitting there waiting on you to fail, right? But if you get your things done and then come out and say, hey, this is what this is what's happening, then by the time they get the news that you're good, by the time they get the news, you've already done it. So there's no wishing, sitting back hoping that you're going to fail. They know it after the fact. Even when I did my came on here and talked about some of the things that I was doing to move back home, and to build my lounge, I would generally, it was things that was already done, and then I would come on and say, this is what I've done, and or I would tell people also, well, this is what I'm about to do, but with God's will, it's already taken care of. But I am very, very discerning about the things that I do. I don't allow people to gaslight me. If I allowed people to gaslight me, I think I would never have become a professor. I would never have, graduated NYU twice. I would have never, raised such fine young men. I don't think I would have, done the project that I did today. I think that people are really, really good at telling you or projecting on you what it is that they feel you should do as a person. But then even you try showing up and telling them one thing that you think is good advice, and all of a sudden you become like, oh wow. So now you've listened to them about what decisions that you should be making, but then when it comes time for them to listen to you, they don't even want to listen. And so you got to be careful with what people feed you. They will tell you things that will not benefit you. But sometimes I don't think I don't see that it's intentional. I think they don't know any better. And when they say to you, this is what you should do, you're thinking they actually know. And the reality of it is that they don't know. And they don't even know that they don't know. They're thinking that whatever they're saying is golden. But it's not true. It's not always golden. It's not always, the reality of what life is. It is just them projecting or trying to understand life, and therefore telling you the things that they think. And but the things that they think is not set in stone. The things that they think could very well just be the fact that this is what they feel. But it doesn't come from anything real. So you have to be careful with what people project upon you. So gaslight the situation, telling you not to move back home, telling you all the reasons you shouldn't move back home, telling you what they experience, and telling you all this is not to say that their experience isn't real, but please make the decision about, excuse me, doing what you want to do, based on your own abilities. And my thing is that if you have the skill set to bring to the market, no matter where it is that you go, your skill sets belong to you. My grandpa, God rest his soul, many years ago told me something. He said, Donette, go to school and be smart. And he says, when you come to America, you can be anything you want to be. And I have never, ever forgotten those words. And I was about 6 or 7 years old. He spoke that into my spirit. And I mentioned that before, but I've never forgotten it, because in reality, that's exactly what happened. I came to America, and though I got derailed with my teen pregnancy, I never forgot that. I knew that I was supposed to be something greater than being a teen mom and, having that stigma upon me. I knew that I was supposed to be good at school. I knew I was supposed to, because he had already spoke to me that I was beautiful, that I was, talented, that I was smart, and I should do the right things, and that I should make good decisions. But even with the poor decisions that I made, I didn't let that overwhelm me. And I didn't let people's, even when I was a teenager, gaslight me into, and even though that terminology wasn't out there, people could have gaslighted me into making poor decisions continually after I became a young mom, teen mom. But I didn't let that do anything inside of me. My grandfather or grandpa had already um, spoken into my spirit. I already knew who I was. I already knew that I would one day become, something great. And so therefore that manifested itself. And it manifested itself in some of the best ways, thank God, right? So again, don't allow people to gaslight you. Know that the decision that you make to come back to your home country is one that you want to make. Know that you can take your skill sets from the very country that raised you, or you helped to build as well. Because don't forget, as when we were, as much as the country has built us, we have also built those countries that we're in, whether it's the United Kingdom, whether it's the United States, whether it's Canada. We've also impacted those societies by our presence through our skill sets, through our raising our children the right way, letting them give back to the communities and to the society in general, through voting, through so many other things. So these countries didn't only give to us, right? I'm almost done with my Long Island iced tea. These countries didn't only give to us, we also give to those countries. So as much as we praise those countries for raising us and, kind of feeding into our spirits, or not into our spirits, because I honestly is crazy, but feeding into our technical skills and into our know-how and into our projecting into a better and greater life. We also have given back in terms of our work ethics. The fact that we have given back to buying homes and, raising our children well once again, so that they can eventually impact the society that they live in. And so, giving back in terms of, I guess it would be culture as well, right? Because your cultural experience becomes someone else's. So we have given back in a broad way, in a very broad way, to the very countries that have given to us. So it's not a one-way thing. It's not of America or the United Kingdom or Canada has fed into us. We also have fed Canada or the United States or the United Kingdom, with all the things that we've done. So once again, Please do not allow people to gaslight you and tell you all the bad things about returning back home. There is a beauty in the land that we have left. That's why when we come back, we enjoy it as much as we do. We have come and gone for many years, but some of us have stayed overseas for many years, and some of us refuse to even return back, to even visit. I just met one of my customers, right? He's from Greece. Well, he's Guyanese, but he's from Greece. I'm thinking he's Indian. I believe he's an East Indian guy. Um, One of the sweetest person. Now, he went to Greece, got married, raised children. They're all, I believe, in their 30s now. He's been there for 45 years. And he finally came back home to Guyana. And he is having such a blast that he told me his experience was that he went back home, and then he told his wife, because he had lost so many family members, and I'm not going to tell his name because obviously that's his private life, but he went back home to Greece and he told his wife, he has a business there and everything else, and his wife is there running his business, he told me. And he said that he came back, he went back to Greece and he told her after he visited Guyana early this year, and then he said he told her when he got back there, listen, I've got to go back home. I've got to rekindle. I've got to spend some time away because he had lost so many members of his family and didn't get to come in for any of the funerals, including his mom's, during the virus, coronavirus spreading and the pandemic. And now he's here and he is really having a nice time. He is really rekindling all the years that he's lost, not being here in Guyana. And he told me that he's probably not going home until December. And and he's been here for about, at least, you think I'm bad? I've been here 9 months, but he's also been here since early this year. So he and went back home and came back right away, within a couple of weeks or whatever. He came back. So I am not the only one. So there's something about being in your homeland that is beautiful, and you don't have to come back and live like, and fall into everything else that everybody else is falling into, or that is into. I don't feel like a stranger in my homeland, but I certainly, I'm very to myself. Like, I don't know. I mean, I deal with mostly the business community, and I deal with also the customers. But I think I'm like that in the U.S. as well. The most people that I deal with over when I'm there, because I don't think, you know what? I don't think I'm antisocial. I think I'm very social, actually, because you guys know I talk a lot and I interact with people very well. But I think I'm not lonely. I think I am good being alone. All right, and I said that before, that I'm really good being alone. So for me, I certainly feel like as though coming in and adapting to the culture that you see it doesn't mean that you have to pull in everything and go back to whatever it is, because I will never ever go back to being that child that left here 35 years ago. I will never do it. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to be full Guyanese anymore, but I know that there's a part of Guyana that is in me that have never left, and I held on to it, and I want to continue that. I probably wouldn't get into stopping to talk to every neighbor that I see, because I've just not been cultured that way. I probably wouldn't be the one to sit down there and talk for days at a time with a neighbor. I don't think I'll ever get to that, because they talk a lot here and they interact a lot, but there are just certain things that is very American in terms of the way I see life and the way I do things, because I'm more about work culture, good work ethics. Let's get this done. And then I am about neighborly interaction and all that stuff. Maybe I'll relax a little once I get to know certain people. But for me, business is more important at this stage of my life. I'm not about sitting down having casual conversations about nothingness. So, not to say that that's what people do. I'm just saying, for me, whether it's in the U.S. or here, I like to have constructive things going on constantly. So I am at a place and I've been at a place from since in my late 20s, actually early 20s, so, and continuing, where I just want to do life in a certain way, where productivity is more important to me than all this sitting down having a whole gaff and having a whole conversation about things that don't even concern me. Like, I'm not really about the petty talks at all. I'm about, okay, let's talk about business. Let's talk about how I can increase finances. Let's talk about how I can succeed. Let's talk about how I can impact lives in the community. Let's talk about, how I can help other people to grow in this area or that area. So, because I'm more of the person who will disrupt, the flow of the environment and bring something new to it, and so I can help to impact something greater rather than it things being the same all the time. So that's just me, and I don't think I'll ever change. I don't think going back to all that stuff. So as much as I embrace the culture, I also have a cultural view in mind in terms of my work ethics and everything else, like I just said, and socialization perspective. That is very different, and those things I think I will maintain. But for now, I will take the advice of those people who are encouraging me to do the things that I'm doing now, and not worry about the people who are trying to gaslight you or me into making decisions to stay overseas because of the fact that America offers such a better life. These countries have the possibilities as well. You just have to make it happen. So thank you so much. I am Donette. Welcome to my to Kanji Bistro and Lounge. I am still here waiting on customers. I am expecting. Last night I had a big crowd, almost 20 people, and it was me alone, of course, and it was quite a night. But I handled it well as always. And when I come back, I'll be hiring people, but I don't want to hire anyone right now because I am getting ready to leave, and I don't want to hire people and then fire them right because I'm leaving. Will I be leaving my place open? No, I'll be closing it down. I'll probably leave the outdoors open because I think it'll make sense. If people want to rent it, they can rent it for weddings, birthdays, and so on. And then I'll have a management that takes care of that. But the inside, which has all the things that I have and a lot of valuables, I'll be closing down the inside. And when I come back, I'll be making the inside my VIP. I'll be making outdoors the place where people can just hang out. Again, I will be raising up the veranda and extending it and raising it up higher. I'll be putting a deck outside. I'll be redoing my lawn and opening up the pergola, and then the bathroom and the kitchen will be open as well on the outside. So I look forward to all this growth and sharing it with you. And then one day I have to sit back and have you guys know how much I've spent on this project. I don't even know myself. I just know that I've been spending. All right. But fact is that I'm building it out of pocket. And the fact that I'm building it out of pocket means that it all belongs to me, and I don't have a bank to pay, and I don't have anyone to worry about in terms of, refunding back monies and so on. It's all coming out of my pocket, and I feel good about that. Thank you so much once again. I'm Donette. Come back to my live when you see me here again. It's about repatriation. It's not about people gaslighting you not to do it, and it's about finding ways to use the same skill sets that you have attained overseas to make it work in the markets that are here. Nothing is closed anymore. All markets are open. We're all interacting, and there's no way you shouldn't be able to take the kind of skill sets that you have and bring it overseas with you. Thank you so much, and I hope that when you're ready to repatriate back to your home country, that you'll be using some of my advice. Thank you, and have a good night. Thank you.